no one should have to choose between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters through the Purple Leash Project, so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, the vibes are slipping. I think it's time to bring out the Velveeta shells and cheese. The holidays are a time to go all in on indulgence. Headline your meals with the rich, creamy meltiness of Velveeta shells and cheese and satisfy your holiday cravings like no other. Bring that main course energy to your side dish. Celebrate extra with Velveeta these holidays.
No breaks, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
Welcome to No Breaks, No Fear, the official British Speedway podcast, and a special episode to celebrate the champions of the ROWE Motor All Premiership in 2025. It has been a long wait for the Ipswich Witches to claim the top flight title, but that is now well and truly one for the record books, and they are the champions in 2025. Joining us in this champions episode, we have team manager Ritchie Hawkins, captain Danny King, and promoter Chris Louis as well. And we'll start with you, Chris, because obviously you were in that team that last claimed the top silverware back in 1998 now. I guess at that time, it probably, having won everything and cleaned up in that year, you wouldn't have thought it would be maybe 27 years before you'd be back holding the league title again. But obviously a lot's been made of that, but now that one is firmly consigned to the history books.
Yeah, thank goodness. When people started to tell me throughout the years, sort of lead up to the semi-final and the final, that it had been 27 years, honestly, I had to kind of like add them up because I couldn't believe it had been that long. But yeah, it's been a long wait. But last Thursday it was well worth it, and to see the joy on the faces of obviously the team, the sponsors, and the fans, they were rubbing shoulders with the team and their heroes, and it was all smiles. It was great celebrations.
And for you as well, living in the town, being brought up in the town, being brought up around the club, of course, long history with the Ipswich Witches. A proud moment to see, obviously a big turnout, number one, but also to get it over the line and those celebrations. As I say, it's not every day that happens, and a great experience for everyone to remember.
Yeah, I mean, we're a sporting town. It's quite rare for a town to have a relatively successful football club and speedway club that can share such big crowds. And we've had good crowd levels all this season. They've really enjoyed supporting the team, and obviously they came out in even bigger numbers on Thursday to watch the final. So it just shows what it means to the local people. I think we're all quite emotional, to be honest. I mean, we're on here with Richie and Danny, and they've been such a big part of the journey for so long, wanting the same thing as me. So it meant a lot to so many people in so many different ways. Jason Doyle joined us, I don't know if it's 4 or 5 years ago now, and immediately said, look, it's great to be riding here, but I want trophies. We added Emil to the mix, and then we stuck with a team over the last couple of years, pretty much bar one change. And so I think we'd really got a sort of feeling for the club from the riders, from the team, and I think that's you on Thursday.
I'll speak to you next, Danny. Obviously, you're riding in the meeting, but you've been part of the Ipswich Witches for a long time as well. And I think, obviously, it's 16 years you've ridden for them, and more, pretty much solidly through that time as well. And a lot of that as captain. Again, when you came to that grand final, it wasn't all said and done, was it? You went there with a bit of an advantage, but you knew the pressure was going to be on. Was it a little bit more of a nervous occasion than you imagined coming down to the final few heats?
The whole meeting was. I would like to say I enjoyed it, but I really didn't. There was a real nervous sort of atmosphere around the pits, but I think it was, well, it obviously was just because of the stage was so big. We've been in this situation quite a few times over the last few years, and we've never managed to get it over the line. And after doing the hard work at Leicester and getting an away win, we're in the driving seat, but we still had to go out there and do our job. And we know Leicester were going to come and throw it at us. They ride our place really well. So it was a lot of tension in the pits, is probably the best way to say it. But we kept communicating and just kept sort of saying to ourselves, let's go do our job. 3-3s are fine. Don't worry about it. But yeah, to say I enjoyed it, probably not the right sort of words.
You can enjoy it after the event, though. Richie,
Oh, man.
Richie, for you though, again, I know that you said on TNT on the night that you were guarded against getting too excited too soon, and coming down to those final heats, 5-0 would have still potentially tied it up, and it wasn't all over until it's over, and maybe that wait for that crucial extra point that you needed just to see you over the 90-point mark was a little bit longer than you maybe were banking on.
Yeah, it'd have been nice to obviously be able to enjoy it a bit more at the end of the meeting, because obviously, like Danny, it wasn't enjoyable. It was an enjoyable night until the end. But yeah, bit of a weird ending, obviously, with kind of thinking people saying you've won, but you haven't won, because there can be a 5-0, and we were quite capable of messing up enough for them to get a 5-0. Nothing could surprise me. And then, obviously with the T15 with Doug's crash and stuff, so it was hard to kind of just get excited at all. But yeah, as soon as it finished and all the fans come down, it was amazing.
And of course, you've been with the Ipswich Witches for a long time as well. And previous years, you have had this situation where you've started off the season with a fantastic team. Last year in particular, going fantastically well, and then all those injuries came to key riders, Emil and Doyley, at the wrong time, and you weren't able to recover the momentum at this point of the season. This year, there were injuries as well, but maybe not quite so severe, and that's giving you that full strength side really to go at, pretty much barring Jordan Jenkins.
Yeah, well, mainly because we had Dan and Jason back fit by the time it comes to the playoffs. Like if they'd have had their injuries near the end of the season, then we'd have struggled, because when we lost them, we went from dominating everyone and unbeaten to losing matches. So the difference without Jason and Dan, and I think Dan in particular, was like our difference and got us this year, because he's obviously improved his average so much and how good he's been. So they were very big riders to lose when we did, and it did affect us and make things harder. But to have them back fit, whereas in previous years, obviously, I think if we'd have still had Emil last year, we'd have made the final, but would we have been good enough to make the final? To win the final, probably not. But we finally got there.
One of the things about Ipswich, I think, is that blend of, you've got real experience, top level riders, Emil and Danny King, but then we've seen the likes of Dan Thompson progress so much through the course of the season as well, and I guess to an extent as well Jason Edwards, since he came into the side, that I noticed as well when you're in the pits, they're in and around these top riders, and not sort of a them and us kind of attitude, and this experience gets spread throughout the team, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the idea, and obviously they've got no one better to look up to Jason and Emil, and I think once and Emil's come in with Jason, and anyone you bring into the team's looking at them, and they're the example of what to set, and they bring them up to their level of professionalism and attitude, and we've not had any bad attitude or any issues really in the last couple of years at all, and that's because they set the example and they want to be like them. So having that spearhead helps everyone throughout the team, and Jason and Emil as people want to. Our team men, really, they're very much about the team and want the team to win. It's not, there's been zero from either of them individual preference or selfishness at all in the whole time any of them have been at the club. So that keeps the team feel there for everybody. And like I say, they set the example, and it's certainly finally got there. Should have been a couple of years ago, but we finally got there now.
Chris, obviously, you mentioned about Jason Doyle. He's been in the side for quite some time now, and we've talked in the past about bringing Emil in, which was, at the time, quite a bold move, quite a controversial move. But I think as well, though, that the thing that struck me, and maybe I think a lot of fans have seen this actually, is that what he brings, I think, to, well, wherever he goes, but particularly to Ipswich, he's always first in the pits, shaking hands with everybody, and you can tell that he really sort of, whilst he's not the captain, he's a figure that's looked up to, but he also does seem to be a central point that helps bind the team together as well, probably in a way that maybe you didn't realise you were going to get when you first signed him.
I think when I set out to do it, and you're right, it was quite a task at the time, and didn't go down well with all quarters, but I think I kind of knew what I would be getting if we could pull it off and get him in the team. It proved even more so. He's, as you just said, he's his first one there, shaking everybody's hand. He appreciates all the volunteers at the club. He understands how the sport works, probably in the UK more than certainly in Poland. And he just appreciates everybody. And he could have come in to the team as a bit of a superstar that obviously a lot of the riders didn't know, but it was never felt like that at all. He came in as a humble guy that really appreciated at the time, with all the politics going on, the chance to race again. And he grabbed it with both hands. And I feel that, he was going to fight on, regardless, until we got it over the line and got a trophy, because I think he feels that that's repayment for what we've done as a club for him as well. And it's been great working with him. But that ethos goes through the team. I touched on the fact that obviously Ritchie pretty much has always felt the same way as a rider, as a captain, missing out on things, and then as a manager, determined to get the job done. Certainly Danny's been exactly the same. Dad gave him the chance when he was kind of out on a limb. I think it was 2003, I guess. So there was so many reasons for so many riders. I think Jason Edwards has been really appreciative when he's joined us halfway through the year with Jordan's injury. Dan, of course, and they've all learned from these guys and appreciated the opportunity to ride with those guys in a team like this. And it's what made it a special night.
Is there a sense, though, when obviously you go out and win this now, and you've won the league championship, and in order to do that, you've got to have a very good year. There's sort of a sense maybe now for supporters looking ahead to next year of wondering, well, is this the last time we've seen this particular Ipswich Witches side? And it is one of the things about Speedway, I think, where you become a victim of your own success and you get this great side, and it's very hard then to keep that 7 riders together to go and defend the title.
Yeah, it's always, virtually always been the downside of our sport. Certainly ever since I've been involved, it's exactly that aspect that you build something, and we've certainly done that. As I said, the building process for this title really started 4 or 5 years ago, pretty much straight after COVID, and it's a disappointing side of our sport that's I've never felt is right, but it happens, and we'll have to wait and see. We would love to go into next year, if the rules allowed, we'd go into next year with exactly the same team, but I'm sure that won't be the case.
Yeah, it is a bit of a downside of it. Danny, for you, you've had a taste of success with Ipswich getting the Knockout Cup a couple of years ago, but obviously the big one is the league title. So where does this achievement rank in your career, your illustrious career?
It's right at the top. It's right at the top with my British title. I've waited so long to lift that trophy. It was a bit of a bittersweet feeling a couple of years ago, winning the cup and then losing the final after such a dominant lead. We're not going to go back through all that again. I don't want to relive that, but it was hard, and it was really hard to take, to be fair. But we knew the team we had, like Chris said, it's been built for years, and this has been a long time coming. And I think injury has really hindered us over the past 2 years, certainly the last 2 years. And this year, to finally get it over the line, we deserve it as a club. Chris deserves it. Everyone, they put so much into it, and yeah, to be able to be captain and lift that trophy is a massive, massive honour, and it was a night that again I'll never ever forget. And I'm very, very proud man, very proud man to be in that position.
You've ridden for some big teams, but you've always come back to Ipswich, and obviously that's been the main part of your career. What's kept you coming back then as a rider? Because as a rider you get lots of offers, I'm sure, through the course of your career, but Ipswich has usually won out.
Yeah, well, as most people know, and Chris mentioned earlier, Tiger, Chris's dad, John, gave me my chance when I was a young lad, 16 years old, and he took a big punt on me. Probably believed in me more than I did myself at that age, for sure. And I owe everything to the club for getting me where I am today. They've always stuck with me. Even when I've not been with the club, they've always been on the end of the phone and guided me. And, I feel like I can just pick up and speak to Chris and John when he was around. And they'd always give me the best advice, and they've always steered me in the right direction. And I think it's it's a lot of that. And, loyalty, it's lots of things. I'm not from Ipswich, but Ipswich is my home, and that's how I feel about that, and always will do. And I must say, last night was amazing to have the junior meeting under Tiger's name, because he was all about the youngsters, and I'm a prime example of that. So it was nice to see that we've got these youngsters coming through, and Ipswich can be part of that again.
Yeah, we'll come to that meeting in a moment, because it was a great occasion and something a bit different as well, I think, for everybody, for people to watch, and also for the riders involved as well. Ritchie, to you, how did you celebrate this then? It's been a long time coming, but similar to Danny, really, you've had many years. Kelvin Tatum was commentating and actually suggested your dad might be managing the team at some portions of that fixture, but it was indeed you. How did you celebrate? What happened after?
Ian, can we not go into that question?
We had a very good celebration. Yeah.
We'll mute bits out. I'll bleep it.
And we got very, very drunk on Friday, but yeah. It was great travel. Like straight away when all the fans come down and see all the sponsors and stuff was amazing. So yeah, and we all got together a bit. It's a bit of a shame that some of the riders have to go off and ride the next day, and it's not the actual end of the season and the last meeting in a way. But and then we had an early wake up on the radio, me and Chris, Friday morning, which was quite hard to do. And then me and Chris we had a good drink and a chat, and ended up in the end, to be fair, we went Friday and went for a beer and ended up standing there talking about next year and the team and what would be the best thing to do. So you kind of end up talking about Speedway, but just like little things, like me and Danny was down in the town yesterday, like we played golf, and everyone's coming up to us and saying well done and thank you, and we're thank you to them, really, all the ground staff and everything. So, and like we obviously all the fans, we stood at the entrance when they come in last night, and how many people come in and was so thankful. And it's a speedway town, Ipswich, and just with something like this you see how much it does mean to everyone and how happy they are and the joy it's brought them, and we thank them, but they keep coming up and thanking us. So it's been amazing, to be honest.
Has the reaction been bigger than you ever imagined? Obviously it was a big crowd on the night, a massive turnout at Vauxhall for the occasion. But as you say, last night you had that meeting, but generally, as you say, around the town, it has made the news in the local area as well, I know, hasn't it? And as you say, you're on Radio Suffolk on Friday morning, brave call. But the reaction has been good, and that obviously that gives you something then to launch next season in a strong position as well.
Yeah, I mean, we do. I suppose it hasn't surprised me in the sense it has maybe with just like general public and fans. I know, obviously, Ipswich is a speedway town, and we've been there a long time, and we know how much it means to everyone. I think maybe if you're just new to the club, it would. But yeah, we still do the radio. I mean, I probably do 2-3 different radio stations a week, and the paper and the other bits anyway, so that's great, and that's down to Chris really and his promotion, and then town and the people who want to back Speedway and love Speedway. So yeah, we know how popular it can be if you're doing the right things, and that's what Chris has been doing, and putting a side out on track. Really, that's what we've got to do, that they're proud of and want to support, and they will come and support it if we do that. And we've managed to do that for a number of years now.
And Chris, you made quite a lot of investment, I think, in the winter last year, didn't you? And the track was changed quite a lot, I think, going into this season. And do you think that's sort of helped the experience for fans, better racing maybe, and for the team as a whole?
Yeah, I think initially it did. I think with the dry summer, track lost its way a little bit in the middle of the season, which was unfortunate. It sort of came good again at the end. But yeah, well, and we'll continue to do that. I always want to put out best we can for the entertainment, for the riders and what they want. And yeah, we will always work with every aspect of the business and the club to do the best we can. So can't not go through this and not mention Tom and Adam. We haven't really spoken about them. Obviously, Keenan came in to cover Adam in the end, and yeah, could actually have made all the difference in that one single meeting. He had a good meeting, gave it his all. So obviously we appreciated that. Adam, joker of the pack. He kind of like brings a bit of a calming effect to the team, and it was good to have him around. Obviously, he wasn't riding on that Thursday, but after his crash at Leicester, but he still, I think he still helped in a way in the pits. And Tom, he's joined us this year. First time we've worked with him. Don't think I've ever met as Guy as passionate about winning as him. And he's ultra professional. And it's been really good to work with him. So, hopefully that can continue as well.
Yeah, well, the addition of Tom Brennan was kind of the big addition into the pack, probably one that was talked about most. And, him coming into the side, obviously previous experience of being a title winner with Bellevue a few years ago. And that really, I think, for many people, I know that speaking to Kelvin at the start of the season, that was widely thought of as being the signing that really took Ipswich onto the next level when you consider the team that you already had in position as well.
Yeah, I think it showed as certainly as a management between myself and Ritchie that we wanted to continue what we'd started. Oh, that's unprofessional. There we go.
Jamming.
Yeah, good thing to have. No, I just think it showed what we've been working to. Obviously, we touched on it earlier. Bringing Jason in was a big move for us. Bringing Emil in to back him up. We had long chats with Jason after the first couple of years and said, I need some backup. We did that. And then we kind of just needed to, within the rules, bolster up what we had. And I think we made another bold move with Tom. And it just showed that we were working towards, getting this trophy and lifting the trophy again. And of course, he made a big difference.
And also, you managed to work the system pretty well with, obviously, Dan Thompson came in as a rising star, and he did so well that he's not a rising star anymore. But you were able to switch him into the main body of the team, but still retain Jordan Jenkins, as it was at the time, as the rising star as well. So that allowed you to maintain that consistency and sort of juggle things around to keep some riders in the team.
Yeah, well, consistency is the key word, and we wanted to to stick with riders. Every time there's ever a league meeting or anything, I always talk about how important it is to have that continuity and grow that relationship between riders and fans, and it's certainly something that within the rules we've been able to do over the last 2 or 3 years, which is I think in part why you saw such a big crowd there for the final, because they've got a real affinity with the team that you don't have if you've only bringing back 2 or 3 riders from the previous year each time. So for me, that's a big thing. It's nice if you can do it local, which was why Jordan was important to us. So yeah, it's a big part of the club, and it's how it's always been. I mean, when Dad was winning titles with the club, maybe apart from Billy Sanders, who was obviously an import, it was a lot of local riders, and that's what the club has always been about.
Danny, I remember at the start of the season when the team was announced, and you were announced as being in the Ipswich Witches again, which obviously you've been there for quite some time. There was a bit of a backlash from, it was a minority, but there were fans sort of, saying stuff online and quite disrespectful really, which considering that you've been there for so long, like saying, oh, he's back again kind of thing. And well, you can look back and laugh on it now, but it's not nice at the time, is it? But I don't know. There is that element of some fans want change for change's sake as well, and that can be a
Well,
problem.
we're living in a time now where social media is about, and people like to voice their opinion on there, don't they? And they're entitled to. It's I understand how it all works. Do I read it? No, I don't. I'm not interested. All I'm interested in is going out and giving 100% for my club wherever I'm riding and doing my best. And as long as I go and do that, that's all I can do. And I think it's disappointing because I think obviously coming off that injury last year, I came back in the hope that I was going to be 100%, and I clearly wasn't. But I just, I wanted this so bad. I just was convincing myself I was probably fitter than I was, and was up to doing a job. And obviously my scores didn't quite reflect on that. So, it was important for me to get some work done in the winter on the hand, come back stronger. And I believe I did that this year. And obviously it's nice to go out and turn it around when things are like that. But yeah, it's not nice to hear, but I try not to pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, we got a league title now to sort of back up the argument, and that kind of helps, doesn't it? Chris, last night, just talk about this event, Tigers Academy Open, which was the first time you've done it in this way at Vauxhall. It was a big event of 16 riders, 20 heats, and a semi-final and a final. There's also a pairs element as well, and a real mix of experience. Jake Mulford was the winner, obviously an experienced rider at that level, but also blended with some upcoming riders too, and all three of you who were on this were sort of mentors for the riders as well. Just tell us a bit about the background and the thinking behind putting this event together, because I think it has been very well received.
I hope so. It was really entertaining, and from my point of view, and I spoke to pretty much all the mentors by the end of the night, and they'd all enjoyed themselves. And the riders were very appreciative, and pretty much all said they learned something. Even touched on Jake Melford. Obviously, he was the best rider on the night, and he has got the most experienced at a high level. But even he said, "Look, I've learned a lot tonight," and he really appreciated being there. We put him in. He wasn't in the original lineup. We lost a couple of riders because of the championship playoff date sort of coming in late after we'd put this date in, and I fully understand people like Will Cairns had to pull out because he couldn't be in Poole and Glasgow, either side of it. It's that was the big thing for him. So totally get it. And I kind of just at that point I thought, well, we need someone for these guys to chase, so someone for them to aim at. And Jake is local and was up for it. So I think he was a really good addition to the night. But we started the Tigers Academy. It's obviously in Dad's name. And we plan to do more and more different events in the future. All of the profits, fortunately, with the good support we had last night, we made a bit of profit. It will always go back into the academy, looking to buy a mini track air fence that we can take around to school fetes and various places, put on the grass, purchase some electric bikes for the kids to ride on. So we're just going to keep putting any profit we can make out of anything that we do back in it, and try and grow it in the future.
No, it's fantastic. And as well, the other point that people maybe don't realise is that for the youth riders that are coming through, Vauxhall is not a track that they're often going to get to visit. I know one or two of them have ridden there before. Obviously, Jake Mulford has, and Vinnie Ford has actually done some guest bookings, I think, for Ipswich, I think, earlier on. But for the most part, it's not a track that's on that sort of youth circuit, and so experience for them, and also riding in front of a crowd, for riders of that level, it's not something that that don't get big crowds and big occasions like that to handle.
No, and we had other aspects of it. Ollie Allen came along representing Team GB and done a really good chat for us, so we appreciated that. And there was a lot of engagement from the riders. They were all taking it in, listening, and I think a lot was gained from that. Obviously, BSN, yourself was involved, and that was nice because they'd done a few interviews and realised, that the media aspect of it all. So we tried to kind of give them every aspect of where they're aspiring to be and what it involves. That was really what the event was about. And I think they all took something away from it. It was quite funny because we'd done track walks in pairs with the mentors and talking to the other guys after the track walk. I think pretty much all of us we'd all obviously got experience of Ipswich, and we'd all said the same thing: don't turn too early, which made me laugh because it is something that everybody does when they don't know Ipswich. Is a bit unique in that respect. And talking to the riders, they thoroughly enjoyed the racing and the night, and it was entertaining. So it had a bit of everything.
Yeah, and I think, were you mentoring Cooper Rushen as well, who I think was involved in probably a couple of the best races, actually?
Yeah. I mean, Cooper's done a few laps previously. He's done a few second halves at Ipswich throughout this year. I had loads of fun. I had Eli Meadows and Cooper. They were pitted next to each other, and I was trying to help them. They both required completely different help. And hopefully they took something away from it. And I had a word with Eli afterwards and said, look, if you're going to have a day practicing somewhere, happy to come along and work on the things that we were looking at tonight. Cooper, look, the guy is just full of energy. And I was surprised last night, having seen how he engaged with Ollie's chat before the meeting, how engaged he was when we walked the track, the questions he was asking throughout the meeting and taking on anything I had to say. He really was engaging with the whole thing, really, and it was great to see.
And also bringing back tassels as well, which I think is an underrated thing.
Right.
It's a big thing.
Right.
It's a big thing. You're right.
A lot of time for that.
Yeah, he said to me, because he was in the under-19 final at the weekend as well, and I interviewed him then, and I asked him if the tassels would be something, I thought that was a passing phase or if they're here to stay. And he says that they're here to stay, and when he does sign professional deals, if team suits are involved, he's going to make sure the team suits will come with tassels. That's in his rider. So there we go. So...
Yeah, it'd be no problem with the True 7 Group Witches. Tassels are not banned.
There you go. Team Tassels.
I don't think we're going to go for it. It needs to be unique to him,
Yeah.
It's unique to Screeny, kind of pretty much in my era, and that's something that Cooper needs to take on.
Yeah, well, I think he did say Joe Screen was the inspiration. I think that's where it was born out of. So that's good to bring that back. Danny, were you mentoring Jake Mulford?
No, I was mentoring Jody Scott and Seth Norman.
I knew you had a red car rider in there somewhere. Jody Scott, he started well and just sort of fell short in the end.
He did, yeah. He was a bit unlucky. He had a bit of a clutch issue in one of his rides, which he had to go 15 metres, but he rode really well. Again, it's a track he's not really familiar to. And he had some really good rides. Gating was key. He wasn't gating the best, but he was charging hard from the back and trying all different lines. And again, like Chris said, I think he come away with learning a few things and a lot more experience, certainly of Foxhall. So I think he was happy. And I have to mention Seth as well. Seth Norman turned 15 yesterday. First meeting on a 500, and he had a fantastic night. I think he beat himself up a little bit too much. Because I know how badly he wants it, and he's been mixing it with some of these guys, Cooper and stuff, in the 250s for the last year or so. And it was his first time on the big stage, and I thought he did fantastic. He should be really proud of himself. He's definitely a rider for the future, and he made a hell of a start in his first one. It was fantastic, but unfortunately just got a little bit out of shape. But again, it's all about learning. Foxhall's a track. It's a clay-based track, and even when it's slick, you can still feel there's the grip in it. And yeah, I think it was a bit of a learning curve, but again, should be really proud of himself.
Yeah, he was good. And you could tell as well as the meeting went on, he was getting more and more comfortable with it. And as I say, first experience on a 500cc in a meeting like that, it's kind of been at the deep end. And he's going in the National League as well, isn't he, for the first time this coming weekend too?
And that would have done the world of good last night. Being in a competitive meeting, competitive races from the start, he's going to take a lot of that into the weekend. So hopefully he has a good week.
Yeah, and Ritchie, obviously you were one of the mentors as well. Again, useful, as you talked about earlier, blending that youth and experience, but as has been touched on, it's something that every rider, regardless of their experience, has taken something from.
Yeah, one thing on Seth, he was the only rider we had to tell to start turning in earlier, so you could tell he'd been mental.
Actually, interestingly with Seth as well, it's the only time I've stood next to the support crew who have seen him going down the back straight on the first lap, telling him to slow down.
Oh, wow. Slow down and turn earlier.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, I think they all got the boys like involved really seem to enjoy it, but take a lot from it, and that was the goal. So, and if Chris has enjoyed that, I think Chris did, and it was kind of the people backed it, and we had the support. So hopefully we do it again next year and keep progressing it up and doing more and more, because I know like a few of the boys said, I wish we could do more of these events, which is great to see all around the country. But there to learn on Ipswich, I mean, it's probably be as slick as they're ever going to ride it. But yeah, to have an experience riding around Ipswich, because we always see when we have young riders come in, like it takes a long time for them to get their head round it and get used to it. And even the same, even with Tom this year, I think he goes well at Oxford, goes well at Vauxhall anyway. It's took him a while before he certainly stepped up another level in the second half of the season. So it takes time to get your head around it. So yeah, all the experience for them, all the better.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic meeting, nicely well run, and being able to do that live stream as well, which a lot of people watched in various parts of the world too. So it's spreading the word of Speedway, Ipswich, and getting these names out there also. Just ones to watch. And Oscar Berwick as well, the little kid who's the 8-year-old kid. I saw him at the Under-19 Championship. Obviously, he's Under-19. He wasn't taking part, but he's not quite there yet. But yeah, we saw him going round on his own. But when you see him racing, for an 8-year-old kid, he's taking on kids who are like 13, 14, and on the sort of bigger bike, and he's diving up there, and it's like he's going to be one to watch as well. So it's exciting, in the next sort of 10 years or so.
Definitely. Oscar just loves it, doesn't he? He just loves riding a bike and being there. He's just and you see him back. I've seen him at Birmingham and different places this year. But yeah, he's brilliant, a real nice kid and dad and everything. So yeah, hopefully he carries on.
Good stuff. Right. So to wrap up then, what's your takeaway moment? The one abiding memory. It doesn't have to be the trophy lift, but it could be. But top moment of this season for the Ipswich Witches on your way to winning the crown. We'll start with you, Danny. What's the highlight of 2025?
It was lifting that trophy. I've waited a long time to put my hands on that and lift it in front of our great fans. So yeah, no doubt about it. For me, it was that.
And it's been a long time coming. Ritchie, to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 100% obviously the trophy. But yeah, for me, to have my boys down there on the rostrum and be with them when we're all celebrating, yeah, to be with my little boys and have that moment together, it was very special.
And Chris?
Sorry, I haven't got anything different. It's exactly the same. It's watching Danny lift a trophy, seeing Ritchie up there with Reggie and my family being around me. My wife, who works really hard with the club, obviously completely in the background, but does so much, and so many other people. It was emotional for track staff and people remembering things. And me and Danny had a embrace, and it was silent because I don't think either of us could talk.
It was, yeah.
So it was special.
It was very special.
Well, congratulations. 2025 ROWE Motor Oil Premiership champions, the Ipswich Witches. What does the winter have in store? Obviously, Danny, you've got action still to come. You've got a BSN Series final with Redcar to come. So that's coming up starting on Saturday, isn't it? So one last chance of some more silverware for you there. Yeah, no, looking forward to it. It's a tough task for sure. Paul are a fantastic side, and they're having a great end to the year. But we've beat them at home and we've run them close at their place, so we know it's doable. We just got to go there with a positive mindset and throw everything at them and see where we're at the end of it. Yeah, good stuff. And quiet winter apart from that? Yeah, not much planned at the moment. So it's been a very busy year. So just get it out of the way, and then I'll see where we're at and see what we're doing. But just want to finish strong as I can and put a good end into a good season. Brilliant stuff. Well, thanks for joining us, the three of you, Ritchie Hawkins, Chris Louis and Danny King of the Ipswich Witches 2025 ROWE Motor Oil Premiership champions.
Thank you, mate.
No brakes, no fear. The official British Speedway podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network. With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.